Again, Broncos country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with you all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
It is the time, your favorite time of the week. We're not for the Raiders, Chargers, or Chiefs. So grab your brews and your fantasy league. We got that blue and orange blood that you bleed. The most loyal fans there ever could be. We are that mile high Broncos country.
Orange Weekly. Fans, brews, and Broncos news. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS. My name is Kevin, and I'm here with Jared, who is running for coach in 2023 for the Broncos. However, do have some breaking news here at Orange Weekly. I do want to let everybody know just up front so that you're all aware. We heard George Penner and George Payton do the press conference today. Very heavy emphasis on getting back to that winning culture, right? And essentially finding what's not working and cutting that, fat of the organization to get things back on track, right? Well, I got a call today from Mr. Payton, and he said, look, Kev Dan, I appreciate all you've done at Orange Weekly. You guys have been great. However, 7 years now, you guys have been running your podcast. Broncos have not been into the playoffs. We identify that as probably part of the problem. We're not totally sure, but we're going to go ahead and trade you guys. And I said, look, I'll get traded, but we kind of have a brand. It's kind of tough. And they're like, don't worry, we got you covered. We're trading you to the Bears. So starting next week, we're still going to be Orange Weekly, but we'll change this to Bourbon, Bears, and no BS. So there you go. I'm surprised you didn't silence me throughout that whole thing.
I didn't, and I didn't because the trade was I get traded as the head coach. It's in the no trade clause, but I can no longer. It's a non-compete clause. So if we're not competing, I could still be the Broncos head coach. If it worked for Jeff Saturday, guys, look, if Jeff Saturday can go from coaching high school to coaching the pros, so can I. All right. I'm just making that very clear. And that's going to be my pitch. Make sure you're looking out for the Jared for Coach 2023. Yes. Hashtag Jared for Coach. This is happening. So I definitely appreciate you guys' support. I know this is definitely not a popular, and I know I would be reporting directly to the owners, which is, we'll get into that here pretty shortly about how that, a little bit of reading into that press conference from earlier this morning, because there is some things that were said in there that were, for me, it makes me feel better about what they're trying to do, and for other people, it might kind of start questioning things. So I think we'll get into that a little bit here in a little bit, Kev. But I think that's the biggest thing on our mind right now, is that we're going in with a coach who hasn't been on the field in a while, for the record. Right. Let's just start. Let's just start off the bat, and because I'm kind of rambling and I don't want to. Let's organize my thoughts a little bit. Let's start with Hackett's fired, offensive line, and surprisingly special teams coordinator. Yeah, I will say this: special teams took a big turn, but there might be some sort of obviously Hackett got his coaching staff together. And there might be some loyalty there. I think that might have been part of it. They probably took all the coaches aside and go, "Hey, man, Hackett's gone. Are you gone with him, or are you sticking around with us?" Yeah. And that might have been part of the situation. The offensive line coach, our offensive line has just not been playing well lately. Sure, you could blame it on him. You could blame it on whoever, but that also might be part of that. Go with, he wants to be with Hackett. That's his guy. So
Yeah.
What do you think about obviously we're cleaning house, right? We're kind of going in. We're like dead season. Hackett's gone because of all the off, and that's where we should start. Why did Hackett get fired? I know you guys had a show last night, Kev, so I don't want to take away too much from what you guys talked about yesterday.
I think this is a good repeat. Just kind of cover what was discussed. And last night's show was, a lot of early reactions to the news, right? We'd only kind of heard about it for 9 hours or so at the time. And so things were trickling out. We're trying to figure out what's truth, what's not, and everything. And going back to, why it happened when it did, why it didn't happen at the bye week, or why it didn't happen a couple weeks after, when there was still maybe a chance that this team could, turn things around, get back in the playoffs. And I think it came down to two events that just national TV Christmas Day pushed it over the edge. The score is one thing. The score is, totally embarrassing, totally disastrous. I don't think that on its own was enough to get Hackett fired 2 weeks early. What it was
I'll tell you what,
Reisner and Rippon pushing each other. Yep. And then Gregory after the game, he got a suspension now for a game because during the handshakes, he got into it with one of the Rams players. So you're seeing a total lack of discipline, not just between the two teams, but inter-team fighting as well. And it's not just in the locker room, but now it's out there for the world to see. Look, that just screams, I get the frustration. I get that their, tempers are boiling over. But when I think you lose to the locker room and you lose the players, ability to stay disciplined and stuff on the field, that's kind of the final straw I think that they saw. So that's my guess, but I don't know about you, man.
No, that's it. I'll tell you what, I apologize, Broncos country, because you guys were not allowed to. You guys probably didn't enjoy your Christmas dinner because it was really hard after eating that 50 burger to still be hungry eating your Christmas dinner. And
it just didn't sit right.
And I'll tell you what, in 2022, 2023, as your head coach, you will never have to eat another 50 burger again. That is my promise. No, you're right. It's mostly obviously the national stage piece of it is tough, but then, on live national television, you have Dalton Reisner pushing around our backup quarterback who hadn't even gotten in yet. They came out today and said that it was all a misunderstanding. That, of course, they're going to, naturally. But there was that. There was and then this morning at the press conference, he did say, without saying it fully, but something along the lines of, we planned on moving on from him after the season. We were hoping to wait till after the season to do this, and we just didn't. It was too embarrassing on a national front stage for the entire organization. Like, you just invested your entire organization. It's a PR nightmare. And to lose like that, it was really bad. So you're right. It was 100% that. But I do like, and I think Williams here he's gonna. That's what I want to get to next is, and I think this is the big piece that I don't think people are missing this piece, because if you watched the press conference, there was a lot of questions specifically revolving around Russell Wilson, and we'll get there too. But the biggest piece that I took out of it was is Walter Penner said straight up, the new head coach will report directly to me, not to the general manager, which is normal chain of command, right? You were once in a military-ish organization. I've been in the military for a long time, and
don't you start.
And there's a chain of command. There's usually the head coach reports to the GM reports to the owners, and the GM's kind of like the middle management for everything else that goes underneath them.
The co-owner of Orange Weekly reports to the owner of Orange Weekly, right?
No, it's co-owner. It's co. It means together.
Goes up to the founder. The founder.
It's a co. It's two C's make a heart, Kevin. Together.
Sorry, I'm not used to the concept. So continue. So
100% though. That's a big statement to make, and the fact that he came out and was the first person on the podium, which I thought was also very, very strong in an ownership role. And then not only did he do that, but he took not responsibility, but I've been kind of sitting, he kind of says in so many words, I've been sitting in the background talking to the general manager. And the other cool thing that was said on that people miss, we have I lost my train of thought. I saw Joey's.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute, though.
I'll get.
The other thing that was missed was that when he got down there, he goes, George Payton and I have been meeting every day since I bought the organization. And every day during those meetings, George Payton has admitted that there are some things that he wish he could take back, that some decisions that he made that he's going to have to right the wrong. Right. And I think that's what spurred a lot of the questions specifically about Russell Wilson. Because is that what he was talking about? Is he talking about the Nathaniel Hackett hire? Is he talking about, like, there's obviously the general manager has a lot of say in a lot of the things, and with no ownership group, they just kind of let George Payton do what he wanted to do. Right. But he came in, he says, look, we have owners now. We have oversight. I am going to be directly reporting with him, and he's going to tell me exactly why he believes or doesn't believe that this team is doing the right thing. And it's going to be straight to the top. It's no longer going to be through the general manager, kind of figure it out at the lower level. He's going to be very involved, which is something that we haven't had in. I mean,
yeah.
When did he get? When did our past owner? When he got started getting sick was like
2011
right after Super Bowl
is when he started getting. Yeah. Well, that's when he started getting sick, and then by the time Super Bowl 50 came around, he couldn't even, I don't even remember if he was at that game, but he couldn't even be on the field to celebrate the win, right? So between 2011 and 2015, things got really dicey. And you could say even by Super Bowl 48, he was more or less out of the picture. So it's been that long. Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about that, having an ownership come in and say this, and then I'm going to get to Drake because I'm sorry to so George Payton, I believe you're talking about, not Sean Payton. So George Payton, and he's safe. I don't think he's getting fired at the end of the season based on the way that went. But it is safe to say that the way that the ownership group was talking was very much like, yeah, you made some mistakes. Let's rate them. Like you need to fix this. Like he's holding him accountable just as much as he's holding everybody else accountable. So there's all that piece. So I think that's a big part of what I saw. You saw a very strong owner come in and lay down the law, basically. Firing a lot of guys on the coaching staff with 2 games left is huge, and especially after an embarrassing loss like that, I think it makes a statement, and it means the other thing that it also means is no one's safe, guys. Like I know everybody wanted, like obviously
one person is, but yeah,
there's one person in the entire organization, maybe 2 now because we know George Payton is probably safe here. 2 people that are safe in this organization. And they talked in depth about trying to get somebody revolving around the guy that we have. And again, without saying it, basically like we have this guy, we think he can turn around, but we have him, like suck it up. Like this is our guy. This is our guy. So we have to build around him. We have no other option. It's not like we can move on from that guy either. But Kev, man, I'm tired, and I think Broncos country's tired. This is our 3rd coach in as many years. Right. I'm so tired of this coaching carousel and the quarterback carousel and the everything, man.
So everything you talked about, definitely major points from today's press conference. One thing that stood out to me, maybe it's because we haven't really heard it before. We haven't had owners before. We haven't really been in this position before. I don't really pay attention to other teams, but both Penner and Payton apologized to Broncos country. They said, we appreciate, how, and understand how valuable you've been sticking by us. And, not just this year, but the 7 before they were even here, they recognize what we've been through. And they sat there in front of everybody and said, we know you deserve better. We are going to do everything we can to, bring back that winning culture. And the reason that stuck out to me, because my thought is, after I heard that, I was like, man, I hope I don't hear that again next year. And that's something when you're figuring out, what do I want to say during this press conference, right? And you're planning it out between the 2 of you, and you probably have public affairs or whatever, helping you write this stuff out. I would think that, that's a one-time thing. You can't say sorry again. You can't say next year, oh, we made these moves and now we're 5 or 4 and whatever again, 4 and 15 or I don't even know, but you just lose. And you sit there, you can't say that every year. I don't remember the last time I've heard the Lions owners apologize to their fan base. Right. So I don't know if this is lip service. I really want to believe that it's not like, there was very humbled approach to it of, we are sorry. We are sincerely sorry. This is not what we expected. This is not what you deserve, and I think that, and I hope they realize that okay, I'll accept their apology this one time, but you can't go back into the former ways, right? You can't just try what's not worked again and hope for a different, different results. So anyway, it was really cool to hear because I did feel like there was sincerity behind it. There was passion behind what they were saying. When George Payton said that yesterday's or Sunday's game was embarrassing, you could tell he looked angry. He sounded angry. He wasn't just paying it lip service. So, I really feel that this group, this ownership group, George Payton, they understand, and it's everything that I was worried about the new owners to begin with. I did not want the new owners to be focused solely on money. I was like, are we going to find somebody who's going to go back to the old days of Broncos football with Pat Bowlen, where there is a winning culture and tradition? And I think they understand that. And I think that that's what they're going to get back to. So anyway, Jared, that's one other thing that nobody's really talking about, but stood out to me.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to having a strong owner and a strong ownership group that cares. Now there is a fine line as an owner of an organization that you don't want to be so involved that you're Jerry Jones, but you do want to be involved enough to be able to hold people accountable. And I think that's what he's doing. I think he's stepping in at the right time. He's being the face, which I think I kind of appreciate. Like think about it. Like, there's so many owners in this league that will refuse to be the face of their franchise, and he's a guy that's stepping up and going, you know what? Yeah, you do deserve better, and now he's starting to figure out, right? You have that little the learning period of figuring out how to run an organization, because it's their first professional organization that they've owned, but B, trying to get the lay of the land, try to figure out what's going on, trying to understand their people, understand basic HR. Kev, you could relate to this. Like, basic HR, you don't just take over a group and tell them what to do the day one. And I think now he's getting to a point where it's like, this offseason is going to be interesting. And the other thing too is, between getting rid of Melvin Gordon mid-season after his multiple fumbles, I don't think Randy Gregory is ever coming back. I think they're going to hold him accountable for that. What
do you do? We just signed him to a 5-year contract, so he has 4 years left on his contract. What do we do? Cut him?
Did we sign him to a 5-year?
I think it was a 5-year.
I thought we only got him on a couple year.
Oh, maybe it was a couple year.
Let me do some Googling.
As you do that, so there is a lot of that to look at. The accountability this team's going to have, and what it's going to say. Ojemudia got waived today. Interesting cut. That.
That's interesting. So he was a guy. I'll tell you what, man. Like, he was a guy that I really liked. He was a guy that he had in his rookie year. It was the game. I think it was the game after the New Orleans game when Kendall Hinton had to be our quarterback. Yeah. And we had no corners. Right? Mm-hmm. We had three corners on our active roster, and Ojemudia ended up being the only guy. We ended up playing some free safety at corner because it was Ojemudia was the number one guy as a rookie, and he ended up holding his own for most of the passes, but they just kept targeting him. Right? They knew what they were doing. Right. And, I'm interested to see that he was going, but they just never found a use for him in the way that he was going. So yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
So
let me
looking
see.
here. Gregory has 2 more years on his contract before he can have a potential out.
A potential out in 2025.
With a $4 million, it'd be a $4 million dead cap hit. But then he is still on contract after that for 25, 26, and he would be a free agent in 27.
I'm seeing 16 mil a year after this year. So this year would be a 5 mil gap hit, and then 16 mil cap hit for the next 2 years before the 2025 season. So maybe we try to find this trade. I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting too. It's yeah.
And I mean, Gregory did come out with an apology. So anyway,
did he?
Interesting. Yeah, there was an apology statement. So, again, was it lip service or not?
Answer this real quick. Yeah. So the only ones I'm tracking right now are head coach, the offensive line coach, and special teams coordinator. Again, special teams coordinator was a surprise for me specifically because that was the one place other than our missed field goals, which is not the special teams coordinator's fault. Our punt returns gotten better. Our coverages have gotten better. Hey, we broke a streak on Christmas.
What was that?
The Rams had the longest active streak without a pick six So we got to have that. So that's
cool.
A thing.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of a thing, a couple questions here about Sean Payton. Look, you guys want to hear my thoughts on Sean Payton? Go back to the Orange Weekly After Dark show that was on last night. Watch about the first 5-10 minutes. You'll hear me get on my soapbox about that. You guys just no, stop. Not happening. Okay, done. No Sean Payton. Ignore that. And let's talk about people that might actually come to Denver. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Here's the problem is we're 2 days after firing the guy.
Yep.
And we're already talking about who the options are for next year. Everybody wants a successful coach, Super Bowl winning coaches, right? Everybody's Harbaugh, Peyton. Who is the guy that won it with? He just got fired. He won it with Indy. I think he was with Indy. I forget what his name was.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of head coaching candidates, guys, and you guys could just mark them all off because it's going to be Jared for coach in 2023, and I'm going to bring my own staff. I'll figure out somebody. Evero's going to stay with me. I've already talked to him. Got him on the speed dial. He's staying as a defensive coordinator for me, and special teams. You know what? I'll pick up some random guy for special teams. I think we'll get some good ones. But yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, that special teams coach is better than Tommy McMahon. Sorry, Keith, I just saw that. Yeah.
Yes,
I hate seeing that name. Talk about changing our culture. John Harbaugh. Yeah, we talked about Harbaugh. I think he would be interesting. Look, it's so hard. Shane, let us know how you feel.
Yeah. All of you, let us know how you feel because that's what we care about, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Seriously, like
we're here for
you. That's what the show's for.
Yeah.
But yeah, Harbaugh is the interesting one because I know he interviewed for the Raiders job last year, so he may be mulling over a return to the NFL, but it is tough when you're, in charge of a very successful college football team. You're your own king, you're your own boss. I mean, the college football coach is right below the dean, in terms of the stepping, in fact, he might be more important than dean. He makes his own calls. He doesn't have to report to a GM and an owner and worry. And as long as he keeps the booster club happy, he's going to be fine. You know what I mean? So it's tough.
You think about the Harbaugh brother. John Harbaugh's the Ravens.
Sorry, that's right. See, they're confusing, but the Ravens one. I don't think
Jim is the University.
Jim is the. Yeah. So Jim is the one that we would be considering. But can't see him leaving Michigan, to be honest with you. Obviously for the right amount of money and stuff, maybe, but I just don't know if that's the way to go.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This is why I hate it. I don't like looking at who we're gonna hire yet. I think while obviously they're gonna start a search, they're gonna start getting some people. We're gonna find a guy, and like again, I keep saying we're gonna find the guy, we're gonna find the right guy, and at this point, like I don't know if you all are, but I'm numb to this. I'm starting to get not dead inside. I don't want to be dead inside about a new coaching hire, but like, man, I think Rob mentioned can't wait to see the coaching carousel graphic for next year because it's just been it's getting to the point where I'm kind of just getting tired, and I agree. I think we do need to get a guy like guys like Dan Quinn still on the table. Like there's a lot of people on the table that I think we need to. I agree. We need to get a guy who's been there. In the off season, I think the big excitement was, and we warned everybody like take caution with the fact that we have a very young coaching staff and a very while experienced quarterback, we have a very young coaching staff. We got to get there. And I defended Hackett for a long time, and I still think he's a good coach. He'll land on his feet somewhere, I hope, as an offensive coordinator, most likely. He'll land on his feet somewhere, but I'm just so tired. I'm so tired of the coaching carousel and who we're getting. And Tanner, no. No.
Bad. Why? No. Thanks for
I was getting on a rant. I look in the corner of my eye. Tanner comes in with some craziness. This is nuts.
I love it.
Oh man! All right, well, that's enough. I think that's enough to talk about coaches. Let's move on a little bit. Let's talk about, okay, so again, this morning, the press conference, a lot of conversation revolving Russell Wilson. I think a lot of Broncos country is wondering, like, well, we moved on from our head coach. Like, are we not giving Russell Wilson any of the blame on this? And they didn't. They didn't sit there and be like, nobody sat there and was like, you know what? No, Russell's good. We don't think there's a problem with Russell. Everybody on this was on the same page. Like, Russell will tell you as much as we're going to tell you that he's been having a tough time. And he's not living up to his standard. And, I think that's awesome. I think there was a lot of talk about Russell Wilson that was really frustrating. Was that everybody kept asking, like, well, what, like, are we not going to hold him accountable? Like, yeah, I mean, we can't, guys. Like, we literally can't. I do understand that Brett Rippon came in and won the one game he got to start and play the whole game through, but that wasn't a Brett Rippon thing, right? Like, he also came in at the end of the game. They let him get a chance towards the end of the game when it was garbage time.
Well, and he played the Jets game and lost. Like, we lost in the Jets game. So
yeah. So there's they believe in Russell Wilson, and they have to say that. That's a little bit of a PR piece. They have to say they believe in Russell Wilson, but at the same time, like, it's nice to see, like, they're saying the same things we see already. Like, they're going to be behind Russell Wilson. They're going to try to find a guy that's going to be able to combine with Russell Wilson. They understand this is the worst season of his career, including his rookie year. And that he could do better. And they did say, they even said, they were like, I hope in the offseason that he does the work to get better. I think that was the owner, which I love owners that have never owned a football team before, because sometimes they do say things that, like, other owners won't say, but, like, yeah. I hope he figures his shit out. Like, I hope in this offseason he turns around, looks himself in the mirror, and is like, I cannot do that again. And yeah, all the questions coming in about Russell Wilson, and they do believe Russell's the guy. They have to believe Russ is the guy. So I'm glad that they're all on the same. Okay, let's see. We got a couple we got a lot of comments coming in, so let's hit some of these.
Let's see. So going back up to Shane's comment here really quickly, it's a lot. You can all read it, but basically, is it worth going to the game against the Chiefs? Look, to me, it's always worth going to the games because of the environment. You get to cheer on your guys. I mean, how often do you get to do that? There's only 17 regular season games a year, and that's it. So I always say take the opportunity. Plus, man, any given Sunday, you never know. I mean, you have a chance to be at the game where the Broncos could beat them for the first time in 20 games. Man, that's pretty cool. So, look, could you end up being embarrassed? Maybe, but no, I'd say hold your head high. We're still Broncos fans. Yeah, that team sucks, but whatever. We're Broncos country, and we're going to go in there. We're going to show up strong, for the way the season's gone, I'm sure. But yeah, don't go in there and, like, try to hide that you're a Broncos fan, man. Like, be proud. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny comments here. Let's see. I think we're talking about Russ now. I mentioned the word Russ and Russell Wilson. All of a sudden, the comments started pouring in. This is great.
Yeah, right. We get another beer.
Wilson needs to be you go get another beer. Wilson needs to be a mobile quarterback again. AJ, appreciate you watching, brother. He's a blind man. I assume you're talking about Russell Wilson. Sometimes you got to cut a man loose. Off the Russ train till he can prove me wrong. I'm not going to believe in him, but that's what they have to say. Yep, that's what I said, Joey. Like, I'm not going to believe it till I see it, and right now they have to say that because of the money. And then we talk about it. It's only money. Look, we got Walmart owning us, man. Like, I feel like we could take the money hit. The problem is that there's caps on things, and we have to take a cap hit, and then we long story short. But I already talk about this being one of the worst trades. If this plays out and Russell does another one of these years, this is the worst trade in the history of the NFL. But again,
let's not think about that
because he's in a Broncos uniform. Let's see, baby steps. We're gonna be fine next year. Clayton, I love the positivity, man. You're always there.
I do
too,
man.
I appreciate it.
I love it.
Let's see. I'm going to love Broncos. Shane's going to the game. Still
Love
want to
it,
go. I
man.
said yes. I'm proud. Wear my gear. Love it, man. Everyone's still playing for their jobs. Joey has a good point, right? And I do not see another embarrassment like that Rams game. I just don't see us coming out and doing that. I think that there's weight. While we can sit here and be like, look, they have nothing to play for, but there's some pride there. There's some people paying for their jobs. There's some people playing for some, like, you got to think about this. There's probably a lot of people out there, specifically backups, that are playing to stay in the NFL, or maybe get paid, get traded, get some sort of off season pickup and get some money. There's a lot of things at play here that people don't think about. And not for nothing, I think Latavius Murray is doing very well for us. I think that was a great pickup by us.
I think between him and Williams next year, that 1-2 punch, I think we're set at running back. You know, going into this with losing Gordon, it was kind of like, okay, well, who's going to be our number 2 next year? You know,
yeah.
But now the way we've seen Murray run, some of the things he's done, I think Javonte Williams and Latavius Murray being the 1-2 punch for the Broncos actually looks pretty good.
Yeah. Shane, this is a good question. And I was hoping David would join us for this because I kind of want to hear his thoughts on this. I was super disappointed in the defense. Now, granted, we threw 4 picks, 3 Russ, 1 Rip. However, even in the first 3 to 4 drives, the first drive they drove down, got a field goal. And then the next couple drives, it seemed like everything was wide open. Like, it seemed like there was nothing that they did that we could stop. Nope. And I don't know the answer. I'll also be honest with you. Normally on Mondays, I'll go off before we do the show. On Monday nights, I'll go and look at the film and double check some things, make sure I'm tracking, make sure I know what I'm doing before I come onto the show and pretend like I know what I'm talking about. I did not for that game. Yeah. I could not pull myself to watch that game again. And I don't know what it was. I don't. It was sad. It was really sad that they, like, Baker Mayfield made us look like a high school football team, and it was sad. So I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know what the answer is.
Man, just lack of preparation, lack of focus. You know, the only thing I can think of is, you know, they're traveling on Christmas, they're away from their families. You know, and so it's like, okay, well, were they prepared? You know, like that goes back to coaching, but that also falls on themselves, you know, the responsibility to get prepared for a game. But I think I don't know what else it was. Like, one team was ready to play and one team was ready to play against a 4-10 team on Christmas and kind of just assumed that they would win. And that didn't happen, you know? So I don't know, man. I don't have any answer. It was absolutely brutal, and they could not figure it out all game.
Yeah, I would normally defend not a 50 burger, but I would defend a lot of points against our team on basic just the interceptions alone. 4 interceptions. Yeah. They had great field position a lot of time. If it wasn't for the first 5 drives, every time they got the ball, it's just like there's nothing that we could do to stop them.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it was absolutely. And out of character, well, I'll say the one thing, like, that was out of character, as opposed to some of the offensive woes that we were having. That's kind of in character for what we've been seeing all season. But the defense was definitely absolutely out of character. And yeah, I wish I knew the answer. Okay, let's see. Let's see. They're tired of holding it down. Yeah, Tanner, that's probably a good point. They're tired of holding it. Like, maybe they're just getting tired. They're just as beat up. They've been on the field probably like two more games total, like timing than the offense has. And like,
let's see. They were on the field, time of possession, over 36 minutes for the Rams, 23 minutes for the Broncos. So yeah, they were on the field for 2/3 of the game.
Yeah.
So
let's see. I love this. DB for life. Broncos for life, no matter what. I appreciate it. And we are 100% down Broncos for life. Let's see. That wasn't ready. They weren't ready to play. No one was ready to play. Yeah, it just looked like our whole team was not ready to play. Hope the defense shows up again on Sunday. Agree, Shane.
let's start talking about that. Look, it's through all the news that's come out yesterday and today. The Chiefs are getting ready to play us on Sunday, and we're focused on a head coaching search, it seems like. So hopefully, the new staff or, the staff that's stepping up and into the new positions is saying, forget all of this outside noise. We've got a game against the Chiefs on Sunday, right? Like, if you don't want to be embarrassed again, we've got to buckle down. We've got to focus, and we have no time to fix things other than just go out there and be disciplined, and, if they can pull from the energy they had in the second half of the game against the Chiefs last time, this could be a really good game. I'm not counting them out by any means. Look, the Raiders beat us, their interim head coach last year. Twice, that's true. But the first, it was his first game as interim head coach, and they beat us in Denver. So, it could happen. It could happen. But I don't know. I think there's still, a lot of things going on. And I know people have been talking about, do we bench Russ or not? I say no. We definitely need to get him more, interaction with the team. So he's already missed 2 games this year. I think that second one he missed was interesting because he was medically cleared to play, and the coaching staff, Hackett and them, kept him out. So, if he wants to,
I mean,
right.
Was it was it the wrong call? Like, I'm just, there's so many,
Yeah, that's true. We won though. So who knows? But I don't know. What do you think about the game coming up, man? You're going to be coached soon. So, what would be your game plan? What would be your game plan for the team? What would be your message to the team to get the guys ready for Sunday?
Have you heard of the term, sometimes you have to shoot a hostage?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically what they just did. They shot half the coaching staff, not half, but 3 people. And they said, okay, who's next? And players, coaches, none of you guys are safe. Figure it the fudge out. So they got to go out there.
Fudge.
Yeah, except you didn't say fudge. Yeah. So yeah, I haven't had enough to drink. Normally by this time in this show, I'm cursing up a storm, and I'm like, family show. Yeah, I get it. So no, they have to go in. They have to stick to the original game plan of what we had last time. I think Latavius Murray can have a great day with these guys. I think the offensive linemen just lost their coach, and they might have a little bit of fire in them. Again, this offensive line is mostly backups, and they have a lot to play for. They need to go out there and play for what they're looking for. They went up against an Aaron Donald-less Rams defense and got absolutely destroyed. They got to play for some pride here. The only thing that I'm worried about right now is whether or not Russ has the offensive line. There was a couple clips on Twitter that was going around of him trying to talk to the offensive line, like literally rolling their eyes and like going like this, like, all right, man, like whatever you say. Like, I think Dalton Reisner was the only one that was kind of patting him on the shoulder, like, yeah, we got your back. The rest of them were like, okay, dude.
Okay,
like,
yeah,
right,
whatever.
Man, whatever you say, man. We're getting beat by 50. Like, but yeah,
we can still win this. No, we can't.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the relationship is there. If they're still protecting them for that, or some of them are playing for their jobs. I'd like to see us run, because I think if they're not playing for Russ, they'll play for Latavius. I think Latavius he has the locker room. He's a senior guy too, guys. Like, he's been there as well, and he's a guy that he could be a really big difference maker and has been a difference maker in a winning game. So he has the leadership there to be able to run through this defense, and I think that's what we got to stick with. Yeah. I don't care if it's Russ. Russ does not have to throw 30 times a game. That's not a stat that has to, just because we're paying him that much doesn't mean he has to throw 30 times a game. Give the ball to Russ. Stick with the game plan we had with Brett Rippon and originally with Russ at the beginning of that game, and let's just run the ball. And then the defense is going to have to be able to play. But if we run the ball, we have to be able to get first downs and keep them off the field. Yeah, and that's the only way that we win this game.
Yeah, and so look, the optimism, it could seem empty or hollow or whatever, but you look back to when we played them last time. Yeah, I get it. We went down 27-0 against them, right? But we fought back quickly, and it's just a matter of, man, how could that game have ended differently had Wilson not gotten knocked out, when he went on that run there, going for the touchdown. So it's one of those things, like, we've shown that we can put up a fight. This system does work when you have a solid run game that's working for you. It opens up the pass game. It opens up the play action. It allows Russ to be able to be more mobile and run down the field and keep the defense on their toes, and keep Pat Mahomes off the field. So look, it's still a long shot. Don't be wrong. I'm not saying that we're going to go in there and we have at least a 50% chance to win. No, I'm not saying that at all. But any given Sunday, weird things happen. And if this team goes out there with fight and with passion, they have a fighting chance. So that's kind of where we're coming from. Hopefully it's not coming across as like just fake optimism and fan optimism. Like I think there's some little nuggets of I don't even know how to put it, but there's something there to look for that we could exploit to win.
Here's the inside of the coach's room right now, though, and I think this is going to have to play a factor. Is inside the coach's room. You asked me what I was trying to think about, like, okay, what would I do if I came in, even if I was on the coaching staff? We lost our head coach, we lost two offensive coaches, our head coach, our offensive line coach, and our special teams guy is gone. Now, Clint Kubiak is basically running that offense. We have an offensive coordinator, but he was really offensive quality control. We know that. Clint Kubiak is now the offensive coordinator. He's the full offensive coordinator. Well, what had happened, and I don't think people understand this, is what happened was just because he gave them the play calling positions doesn't mean they weren't sitting in that coach's room on Monday trying to come up with a game plan, or Sunday night at the end of the game coming up with a game plan for the Chiefs. So now this is Clint Kubiak's game plan. It has to be. Right? The offensive room is now half as many people as they had, and they're going to sit in that offensive room and go, okay, we have to come up with a game plan without our game planner. Like this is us now. This is no longer Hackett's offense. It's no longer his game plan against this team. It's Clint Kubiak has got the reins right now. So I'm interested to see what kind of game plan Kubiak comes up with to go against the Kansas City Chiefs and what he comes up with, and then if he makes any adjustments on the fly. Because again, just because he was calling the plays doesn't mean that halftime Hackett wasn't going in there and be like, okay, this is working, this isn't, and kind of guiding him as the head coach. And it's just talk about chain of command. You kind of have to listen to the guy. Clint Kubiak's the guy now, guys. And he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy play calling. He's going to be the guy down on the field with Russell Wilson now, and talking to in his ear all the time, and working together with him, giving him a couple. So I'm interested to see how the game plan goes. Game planning is a huge part of everybody always looks at Sundays, and they see what goes on and what goes in on the national television. But Monday through Friday, these guys are staying in the office till 8:00 at night. Trying to game plan, trying to come up with, seeing what they can do to make adjustments and beat a team. I wouldn't be surprised if something completely crazy comes out of this. Like, they have a whole playbook that I feel like we've only seen
parts of.
Shit, the first two interceptions were the same 13 plays we run every game. That try to get the tight end over the middle that got picked off was like the same. It doesn't change. It was very like, no wonder he picked it off, because they probably game planned for that, because they have Andy Reid. As much as I hate the Chiefs, or I guess it wasn't Andy Reid, but it was the Rams. But as much as I hate the Chiefs, Andy Reid's a good freaking coach, and he's going to be able to find that and be like, okay, they're not going to get that pass off. Don't let them get this pass off. This is going to be their game plan. So I'm interested to see how the game planning goes. That's what I'm really looking forward to in this game, is to see how the game planning goes, see if we see anything different, if we throw some different routes in there, different route combinations, because it's not like they have a whole they don't have a whole playbook. They've only been using a little bit of it because Russell can only use a little. They have a whole playbook. They just haven't been using it. So I'm interested to see what they do there. That's a piece that I think a lot of people don't see. Here's a question here. Let's I'm gonna. Yeah. Oh man, we're falling behind. I talked too long. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I saw one here. I think I'm skipping a bunch, so you can go back to him. The interim head coach. Yeah. Okay, so the interim head coach, so it was a guy that we got, game 3 after all the really terrible timeouts and not using timeouts and needing to use timeouts.
Seattle.
Yeah, and I think he's been in the league a really long time. I think that's really what it come down to. And something we didn't talk about at the beginning of the show is Evero did not take I think there's 2 reasons Evero didn't take the head coaching job, because it was rumored. It was reported.
And is this confirmed? That this actually happened?
I don't know, but it was reported. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. It was reported that Evero was offered the head coach.
I just want to make sure, I it's tough because there's so much crap out there right now, but this one does seem real, but I was just hoping that you would see like a confirmed source or whatnot. But okay,
I haven't seen a confirmed source. This is more of like I can see this happening, and for two reasons.
Yeah,
one, he's a first-time defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. He's a first-time defensive coordinator. He needs to finish out a season as a defensive coordinator. Two, your head coach just got fired after the worst defensive performance in your entire defensive coordinator career. Is it right? Like inside, is it right to take over his job after you put up that dismal of a performance? But I do think he's right. I think if the reports are right that he says, no, I want to stay with the defense, I want to finish this out as a defensive coordinator, I think he's right in saying that. And the other thing, too, is I think that I can't think of his name right now. I had a couple more drinks. I shouldn't have. By the way, if I do get head coach, I promise to only be drunk some of the time.
I love it.
I think Evero was right in that. I think he's if the rumors are true, I do not blame him in any way, shape, or form. I don't think he's building draft capital to be a head coach. I think he likes being a defensive coordinator right now. I think he's very, very young in his career as an NFL coordinator, and I think he likes doing the defensive coordinator job. And it's a lot of pressure, guys. Like I don't think people understand that being a head coach isn't exactly things that like a huge promotion for people. It's a pay increase, but it is a lot more pressure than being a coordinator, man.
It's not a 9-to-5 job.
I think
you don't just get to leave at 5 p.m. because that's 5 and I've done enough work today. You're there. I mean, if you're not first in the building, last out, I mean, something's probably wrong. Or, you know, the quarterback is there 30 minutes before you or something. You're one of the first people in the building, one of the last to leave. You don't see your family. By the time you leave, everyone's still asleep. By the time you go home, everyone's in bed. Maybe you see your wife or something for a little bit, but you're essentially gone for months on end. It's very time consuming, a lot of pressure. I'll be honest, if you think that Hackett didn't break down in tears at least once this season, then you're fooling yourself. This guy finally got his dream job, and I can guarantee you he put blood, sweat, and tears into this. And it did not work out. Yeah, it was miserable. And I'm not giving him giving him passes or anything like that. But look, this was a big deal for him, and he's heartbroken. I don't blame him. So it's rough. It's rough for these guys.
Yeah. I will make a pitch to this show, Broncos Country, should be Orange Weekly specifically, and I feel like I will speak for Orange Weekly as the co-owner of Orange Weekly. I'm going to speak for Orange Weekly and say that we will never again. We're not here to badmouth or say anybody's crap or trash or they deserve to not be in the league anymore. Like, look, it didn't work out with Hackett, and obviously there's a lot of things that could have gone better. And we wish the best for him, and he has gone through a lot with this team and a lot of adversity that's probably going to make him better in the long run, but his family is hurting right. He got fired the day after Christmas, guys. Like, he's going through a lot. He couldn't spend Christmas with his family, and then he got fired on his way home. So there's a lot going on with him. So, hats off to him for taking the shot. Hats off for him for getting down here. It's tough for us as Broncos country, but we're not the ones that are suffering for it. And I wish the best for him. I hope he lands on his feet somewhere in another job. Because I do feel for the guy. It was just time to move on. And it's not this guy's shitty, this guy's the worst. It was none of that. It's this guy. We need to move on, and I hope he lands on his feet. I'm going to get off the soapbox on that. I just
said it better than I
said
could.
That. Yeah.
You said it better than I could. So, okay. Well, we're going to start wrapping up here. Maybe some closing thoughts, but first,
is it that time already?
It is that time already, but I bet, Jared, that you're going to have some awesome closing statements. You always do. I would put money down on that. In fact, if DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, had that betting line, I can guarantee you that I'd be going there to check it out and put some money down. So, hey, seriously, guys, DraftKings is our go-to, not just for me personally, but all of us here at Orange Weekly when it comes to figuring out what the betting lines are, looking for updates, all that stuff. When you hear us talking about what the betting lines are of that game, player props, all that stuff, we're getting that information from DraftKings. If you haven't checked them out before, please do. Website and app, super user-friendly. Those same game parlays that they have, the easy and fast payouts, all awesome features that I think whenever I've tried other sportsbook apps, I always go back to DraftKings. I just find myself being pulled back that direction. So big offer for you guys right now. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win the game and get $150 in free bets if this do. Check this out right now. Everybody, not just new customers, can earn up to 100% boost with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. All you need to do is go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, place a same game parlay, and combine multiple bets like which team will win, player props, point totals, and more. The more legs you add, the bigger the boost, the bigger your shot to win big. Of course, like I've been saying, I've been using this for years. Very simple to go in and place individual bets. If you want to go in there and build those same game parlays, gives you that information really quickly on what your payout would be, what the odds are. You can swap picks out really quickly. And then during the games as well, if you want to make bets, those odds are updated throughout the game. And it's just really fun to use. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now if you want to get on this action, guys. Use promo code TPPN and place a $5 bet on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code TPPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
I got to bring up Shane's comment here. Difference between a Broncos fan and Chiefs fan. We talk about rings. They talk about games. It is sad that we're talking about games right now. And unfortunately, this might be we're on the downside of this, but you're right. Scoreboard. I'm with you, Shane. Scoreboard. Super Bowl scoreboard. I got to find out how many AFC West championships they have.
We're not tied.
We might be close.
Oh, look.
I thought we were winning a couple of years ago, but it's been a while. I think they've won the past 4, so I think it's getting close. While you're looking it up, I'm going to go ahead and go with my closing thoughts, which is my pitch to be the head coach of the Denver Broncos for the 2022-2023 football season. Guys, it worked for the Indianapolis Colts, sort of, half maybe, except for that Chargers game and a couple other games. But look, a head coach can go from high school football to the NFL very easily. I don't think it's super far-fetched to say this. And I also want to say that what they need is more militant attitude, right? Being in the military for now coming on 13 years, I think that the Denver Broncos need a military attitude coming into this, and they need discipline, which is something I think Hackett got fired for, and they need a little bit of guidance, and I think I'm your man. I think I'm the guy that needs to come in and just change the culture of that place. I'll work with the Walter Penner group, right? The Walter Penner group. Yep. I'll work with George Payton. I think he's a good dude. I'm not bringing in any of my own coaching staff, guys. I'll tell you that much. I'm going to keep most of the coaching staff that we got right now. I think Evero is a great defensive coordinator if he'll stay with me. And I think that a lot of people are ready for a change of pace and a little bit more militant and organized head coach. And I'm your guy. Also, I will not be the offensive play caller. That's the other thing I think. The other thing I think we need, and I haven't mentioned this before, is kind of part of my pitch though, is I think we need a head coach that's not going to be a play caller as well. I think we need a head coach and we need an offensive coordinator, and I think they need to have their division. There's a lot of teams that are successful with a head coach that's also a play caller on offense or defense, but we need someone that's going to come in and be a head coach only and hire an offensive coordinator. It's going to be an offensive coordinator only, and not both. You need to be a head coach. You need to be able to take care of your timeouts and your players, and you need to be able to focus on what's going on your sideline as well as the game time decisions. And that's why I would be the best coach for the Denver Broncos. Guys, I will leave the Navy right now. I will buy my contract out if you hire me as the head coach of the Denver Broncos. And then that's...
I love it. Mic drop. Perfect. Yeah. I'd vote for you.
Now, my boss may be watching, and if that's the case,
never mind.
I mean it 100%, and I hope that you're okay with that, because I might be leaving a little bit earlier, but I might be leaving my current duty station a little early to take this job, but I hope you're okay with that. I just want to preface that.
Money talks. I think we could make something happen. So
I think we can make something happen.
So quick history lesson. Looks like the Chargers since 1960 have won 15. AFC West championships. The Broncos have won 15, and the Chiefs this year will be number 15 for them. The Raiders, however, are also, I think it's even now, looking at this, 15, 15, and 15. So interesting numbers there. But Broncos have not won it, obviously, in a while, and that sucks. But anyway, look, guys, for me, one, vote for Jared for coach. If they ask, just throw that name out there. Even if they don't ask, just call up Dove Valley and be like, hey, this Jared guy needs to be coach. It's true. This sucks, guys. Not happy we're in this position. We're going to have to go through the whole cycle again. Fully expect that even though this team's going to be healthy when they all come back next year, you're going to have a new coach. You're going to have a new style of doing things, new language, new playbook they're going to have to learn, new scheme they're going to have to learn. So the offense is going to take a little bit to figure it out again, not saying that they figured it out this year necessarily, but now you're starting from scratch. So to sit here and say that next year we're deep playoff contenders, probably not, but we're looking to see what we can do to improve over the offseason. And it's going to be really interesting to see what the new head coach does for, making player decisions when it comes to the draft, free agency, and starting with training camp. I think that's going to answer a lot of questions. So hopefully we don't see any easy training camp for these guys. I would be surprised to see more of traditional training camps with more, 7-on-7s and the contact, drills when possible, and not taking every other day off for walkthroughs. So I don't know, maybe that'll get this team more prepared. Maybe we'll be injured again, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. And who knows, right? So just saying, this could be a good thing. This could be, I don't even want to go there. We don't know what this is going to be. So we're going to be in the ride together. And one other announcement before we sign off, don't forget about the fan appreciation episode we're going to be doing end of January. We'll send out information for that once we figure out when it's going to be. We're going to have some guests that'll be on that you can ask questions of, like Jeff Legwald, maybe Brandon Perna again, some other fans or whatnot. We'll have you up here. And then we'll be giving away a ton of Orange Weekly gear and Broncos gear and prizes, and just a way for us to say thank you to all of you fans for watching us and hanging out with us and supporting us through this last year. So make sure you join us for that. It's going to be a real fun, good time. And then during the off season, we'll still be busy popping up online during free agency and the draft and things like that. We'll still be doing shows and podcasts and stuff. So we may be going quiet for a while there, but just remember, we'll be back when breaking news happens or when important things are going on for us to talk about. So
yeah, keep an eye out for we have these Jeopardy shows. So last year I got in trouble for using the Jeopardy music.
You did.
I got yelled at by Facebook and YouTube for using Jeopardy music, which apparently is copyrighted, guys. Don't do that. So yeah, but check it out. We have a lot of fun. Look, guys, we're here to have fun with you guys. Orange Weekly exists for the fans. Orange Weekly exists for the fans. We're here for you. We love that you guys are commenting. Thank you so much for everybody that was joining us tonight. Thank you for commenting and keeping our show going. We really appreciate you guys, and that fan appreciation show is to show how much. So come in, win some prizes. We'll have a lot of fun. And then in the off season, those Jeopardy shows, we have a lot of fun, just kind of relaxing and taking an off season. I saw a tweet the other day, and I forget who it was. Might have to look it up. I want to say it was Bree, but I don't want to give her the credit if it wasn't her. But somebody tweeted the other day that was like, it said, "This is the first time during the season that I've looked forward to the off season, and I hate the off season." And
I hate the off season.
And I hate the off season. It's 100% how we're all feeling right now, and that's the best way to put it. But yeah, keep an eye out for us. We have a lot of fun. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think Kev, is the game in Kansas City this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree, Shane. I wish we could go to that game. And you're wearing the Broncos, so it looks like Shane's going to that game in Kansas City, wearing the orange and blue. Represent for us well. Appreciate you joining us, man. Thank you so much, and representing Broncos country in foul territory. I guess that Red Sea runs heavy over there right now because they've been very good for the last couple of years, unfortunately.
It sucks.
So-
Anyway.
So yeah, I also want to put up this. I wish I knew who this was. What the hell are you drinking? You're having delusions. I'm hoping that's my boss. That's
Hopefully. I love it. You Navy guys got a sense of humor. I love it.
Yes.
That's perfect. Cool. Okay. Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Good talking with y'all. Hopefully we have some good things to talk about Sunday and going in next week. But again, don't forget about all the other content we still have coming up for you guys. Season's almost over, but we're not quite through yet. But that being said, Jared, let's end it. As we always do. We're very strong. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Take care, everyone.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, if it's right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go.